Well, the automotive industry is a traditional business model of over 100 years in history. And what we're experiencing is a high degree of disruption, mainly in the transformation of that business model from one that's centered on product ownership to what I would call services usership. Individuals now have choices that can be made available through technology to access mobility through other means, other than ownership. You can book a car on demand, and that's creating new options for how to be served with the utility that comes from this industry, which is, after all, mobility. And the value chain is being entered into by new players, digital companies that traditionally had not been in the automotive industry, and they're providing services and solutions that were previously not there. And as the business model transforms from a hardware-centered model to a solutions or a services-centered model, the mindset has to shift, that it's no longer B2C, where you're taking products and you're pushing products to customers. You have to shift to a more C to B model, where you have to listen to the market, understand what the consumer or what the customer's need is, and then create solutions that serve that need. And those solutions may be different from those which historically we have provided. So I think that's the challenge to the traditional industry. It has to transform its mindset to shift into more of a C to B mindset. Well, the traditional automakers have to expand their focus from the product, the automobile, to the utility that's derived from the product, or what we like to call automobility, and create a business model and a digital ecosystem that's optimized to provide digitally enabled solutions for both owners as well as users of the product. So I see the key players is segmenting into three types. The traditional automobile makers, these are the companies that we know, Ford, General Motors, Daimler, Toyota, Honda, etc. And they have to expand the focus on delivering technology-enabled features that serves both the product owners as well as the users of mobility services. New in the game are the new technology players. These are companies, increasingly Chinese companies, such as NIO, or formerly called NextEV. There's another company called UIC, which is developing an autonomous mobility on-demand solution. Future Mobility Corporation, another startup in China focused on creating a new platform for technology and mobility combined. LaEco is also experimenting in this area. And then you also have the digital ecosystem players, which include some of the mobility solutions providers, all of whom are investing in some form in automotive-related or mobility-related businesses. And these are the BATs, the Baidu, who has an active program called Car Life that is trying to capture the user's time when they're in the car. Alibaba with their Ali Auto division and their solutions. Tencent investing also in mobility solutions, as well as some of the mobility startups. So they're providing a total ecosystem of mobility and digital solutions to their end users. Well, I think the most impressive thing I see is the rapid rise of on-demand mobility, and the ability to really now see that a large number of people in China, especially in China, are very interested in accessing mobility on a pay-per-use basis. The most successful examples are Didi Chuxing, born out of separately created platforms by Alibaba and Tencent called Kuaidi Dache and Didi Dache, now merged into Didi Chuxing. Didi books nearly 25 million rides a day in China. So it's actually functioned as a way of bringing people who previously may have been taking public transportation into a personal mobility solution, actually adding to the number of cars on the road, which is a good thing for the industry. The other case I would say is Mobike and Ofo. These are bike sharing app-based solutions where you can unlock a bike with your mobile phone using a QR code, and basically it functions as a first and last mile type of a solution to get you to your at least partway to your destination. 50 million rides booked through these types of applications today in China per day, which is an incredible number since these services have only been in existence slightly over 1 year. Well, I think in an age of disruption, you have to be able to sustain your performance in the current core business while you're exploring opportunities in what we call the fringe. And what we see happening, particularly in this mobility development, is the first thing that happens is we see an acceleration of the demand for the traditional vehicle. So being able to serve that market with services related to your current product, lubricants, is actually accelerated because there's more cars in demand through personal mobility services. Those cars are high utilization, so you'll be able to address a higher service utilization platform with more replacement parts, replacement lubricants, and I think that's a good thing for your business. It accelerates the business in the near term. Longer term, you have to think about the technological backbone of the car itself, which is shifting towards electrification, more technology services to the car through connected services, as well as autonomous driving. And the implications of that over time to lubricants are net negative. So I think the opportune time is right now to experiment in developing ways to serve the future mobility technology platform. So I think part of the challenge for traditional car companies and suppliers is not only to create the platforms to serve the market of future mobility, but also to create the kinds of experiments that allow you to develop businesses, profitable businesses, in these fringe areas. And that requires, I think, building startup experimentation capabilities, platforms for doing in-market experimentation to try to determine how best to participate. And participating isn't about owning all aspects of serving the market. It's about collaborating with the companies who are building the platform for future mobility and finding ways to serve that market with whatever innovative new capabilities or services that your business is capable of delivering.